Part 1. Christmas Dinner. The room was filled with the scent of rosemary potatoes and honey-glazed ham. The fireplace crackled softly while Bing Crosby's voice floated through the background. At first glance, it looked like the perfect holiday postcard. Until Jason, my brother, stood up. He tapped his glass with a fork and said, "We voted. We all agree it's better if you just disappear." The room froze, then laughter broke out. Actual laughter. Mum leaned back, twirling her glass of red wine like a movie villain, and with a smirk added, "We'd all be better off without you, Kelly." Even Grandma chuckled. I glanced around the table. 12 people I had grown up with, shared holidays with, made sacrifices for, and not one of them looked shocked. Not a single face showed concern. Jason grinned, that smug grin he always wore when he thought he'd won something. "We're not saying you should, die or whatever," he said, waving a hand like it was nothing. "Just vanish. Move away. Quit coming to family things. Let it go." As though I was the problem. I sat still, hands resting in my lap, heart pounding like a drum in my ears. My face, though, calm, cold even, because I'd known this was coming. I had prepared. So I reached into my bag and pulled out a plain black folder. Nothing fancy, nothing dramatic. It didn't need to be. The sound of it hitting the table was enough to wipe the grins off their faces. Jason's voice tightened. "What's that?" I didn't answer. I simply slid the folder across the table until it stopped in front of him. "You wanted me gone?" I said at last, meeting his eyes. "Then here. Merry Christmas." He hesitated, then opened it. The shift in his expression was almost theatrical, smug to puzzled to pale, in under half a minute. He flipped a page, then another. "Is this?" he muttered. "Yep," I replied evenly. "It's all real." Jason's wife leaned over his shoulder, her face twisting. "What the hell is this?" Before anyone else reacted, Mom slammed her wine glass down. "Kelly, what did you do?" I smiled faintly. "Nothing. Just bought receipts. Literally. They didn't realize it yet. But that folder was about to shatter their carefully crafted world. Part 2 inside the folder wasn't just paper. It was evidence. Bank statements, emails, signed documents, all neatly arranged. Jason's hand trembled as he flipped through page after page. How did you even get this?" he stammered. I leaned back in my chair, calm as ever. Let's just say, while you all were busy laughing at me, I was busy paying attention. My cousin Sarah squinted at the papers from across the table. Wait, are those tax forms?" "Oh, more than that," I replied smoothly. "A fraud, hidden accounts. Money funneled through names you didn't think anyone would notice." The room fell silent. Forks hovered above plates, forgotten. Even Grandma stopped smiling. Jason's face flushed red. "You don't know what you're talking about," he snapped. I tilted my head. "Don't I? Look again. Page 12. He turned the page. His jaw clenched. His wife gasped. Mom's wineglass, still in her hand, rattled against the table. "This is illegal," Sarah whispered, her voice thin. "Exactly," I said. "And guess who's connected to all of it?" Their eyes darted around the table. For the first time that night, none of them could look at me. Jason tried to laugh, but it came out brittle. "So what? You're just gonna blackmail us. Is that it?" I folded my arms. "No. I'm just showing you why telling me to disappear isn't such a clever idea after all." The weight of my words settled over the room. The fire kept crackling. Bing Crosby kept singing, but the atmosphere had shifted completely. Part 3, the silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable. Jason slammed the folder shut and shoved it away from him like it burned. You can't use this," he said, his voice cracking. I raised an eyebrow. "Use it? Jason, I don't need to use anything. This is already in motion." Mom's voice cut in sharp, her false calm cracking around the edges. "Kelly, listen. You're being dramatic. We're family. We can work this out." I laughed once, soft and humorless. "Family? You mean the same family that voted me out of existence 10 minutes ago?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. She had no comeback. Jason's wife leaned forward, her tone suddenly syrupy sweet. "Maybe we should all just talk about this calmly. You don't really want to ruin everyone's lives, do you? I turned to her, keeping my voice even. Funny. None of you cared about ruining mine. The words hit harder than I expected. For the first time, Jason didn't look angry. He looked scared. Sarah finally spoke up, voice trembling. So, what do you want? I let the question hang. Then I leaned forward, elbows on the table. What I want is simple. You leave me alone. You stop treating me like I don't matter. You don't get to erase me. Not anymore. Jason shook his head. And if we don't? I gave a small shrug, casual as flipping a coin. Then the folder doesn't stay in this room. It finds its way to places you really don't want it to. The air shifted again. Fear, anger, desperation all tangled together. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the one sitting powerless at that table. Part 4, the room erupted. Not in shouting, but in whispers, nervous, panicked whispers. Sarah snatched a page from the folder before Jason could stop her. Her eyes scanned it, and then she glared at him. You dragged my name into this? Jason, are you insane? Jason shot back. Don't look at me. Mom signed half those papers. Mom stiffened, her face pale. You said it was just routine transfers. You told me it was harmless. Jason's wife buried her face in her hands. Oh my God, we're screwed. We're all screwed. For once, I didn't say a word. I just sat back and watched the cracks form. Sarah slapped the paper down on the table. You've been hiding money for years, haven't you? That's why you always acted so high and mighty, like you were better than the rest of us. Jason's eyes darted to me, then back to Sarah. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. He had no defense. Mom pointed at me now, desperate. Kelly, you can't let this destroy us. Think of what you're doing. Think of the family. I finally leaned forward, calm as ever. I am thinking of the family. For once, I'm thinking of me too. The weight of that landed. For years, I'd been their scapegoat, their punchline, their shadow. Not anymore. Jason slammed his fists on the table. You wouldn't dare take this outside of this room. I met his glare, unflinching. The fire popped. No one laughed this time. Part 5, Jason's fists were still pressed against the table, knuckles white, but his confidence had drained away. The smug grin he'd worn earlier? Gone. Sarah shoved her chair back, glaring at him like he was a stranger. You ruined everything. If this gets out, I lose my job. Do you understand that? Jason didn't answer. He couldn't. Grandma, who had been silent for most of the chaos, finally spoke. Her voice was shaky but clear. She's not bluffing. Kelly's never looked this certain before. For a moment, every eye turned to me. Not with ridicule, not with dismissal, but with something new. Fear. Mom clutched her necklace, her face twisted in a mix of anger and worry. If this goes public, we could lose the house. Everything we've built. I cut her off, steady and sharp. Everything you built, by stepping on me, by pushing me out. Jason's wife whispered, almost to herself, we can't stop her. Not this time. The realization settled across the table like a heavy blanket. For years, I'd been the weak link, the one they could laugh at, dismiss, erase. But now the power had shifted. Jason finally slumped back into his chair, defeated. His eyes were hollow, his voice flat. So what happens now? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I let the silence drag. Let them sit in it. Let them feel the weight of what they'd done.